I've had $1 million, seven-figure business owners that'll go, man, I'm just going to shut this puppy down, go get a job. At least then I get benefits and some vacation time.
That's very common. That's happened to women in the Bra Network. I've seen their transition from entrepreneurship back to corporate because they just want a steady paycheck and their health insurance. Hello, everyone, and let's get carried away. My name is Carrie Murray, founder of the Bra Network and host of Get Carried Away, a podcast that features female entrepreneurs, disruptors, game changers, leaders, and thought provocateurs. Provocateurs? That's not the word I wanted, but you get the jam. Today, joining me is founder of Your Biz Rules, speaker and host, Leslie Hassler. I'm excited to have you. Every email starts with a howdy, and I love that. Welcome, Leslie.
Well, howdy. There you go. We'll say howdy online too. Yeah, it is something that is spot on for our brand and spot on for who I am. So you'll never forget me, will you? Because you know I'll always say howdy.
You are the only person who says howdy, Carrie, and it's memorable. Leslie is in Texas, and I'm here in California. She is a featured speaker at the Wealthy Women Summit this August. Her topic at the summit is 6 proven ways to find where your small business is hiding your profit. She believes that revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is queen. I love that. So glad you're here. I'm so glad to get carried away with you. My first question is this.
Yeah.
If I were to go back in time and talk to 11-year-old Leslie and say, Leslie, what do you want to be when you grow up? Would she say to me, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and help women-owned businesses scale?
No, she wouldn't say that per se, but she definitely could see herself living in downtown, hair up in a bun, 6-inch heels, a pencil skirt, and being in business. So that's what people would ask me, like, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I was like, a businesswoman. And that's all I knew, right? And I actually cannot rock a pencil skirt to save my life. I can't like either. Buns, and unfortunately, my feet do not like 6-inch heels. But I did land in business, so I figure I got the big part right.
That's so, what's so funny is so many people, when I ask that question, they're like, I wanted to be Madonna. I wanted to be a ballerina. I wanted to be a teacher. Nobody actually said, I wanted to be a businesswoman, and I'm a businesswoman. So that's incredible.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting, isn't it? Thank you.
That's so tell me about your journey into business then and developing your own business. I mean, were you always in entrepreneurship? Did you start in corporate and make the switch over? What kind of led you to launch Your Biz Rules?
So I launched Your Biz Rules. I kind of say I was an accidental entrepreneur. So at that time, with what I was doing, I was working for other small business owners, and I kept getting laid off. Not because I was bad at what I did or I didn't do my job. I mean, I spot on, did everything I needed to do. And they would always say, oh my God, we love you. We just can't afford you. So cash flow is an issue that kept me from keeping a job, even the ones I really loved. And at that time, I think that happened like 3 or 4 times. And I was like, I am over it. I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm going to go into business for myself. So I found out on a Wednesday that my last day was Friday, and I opened up my business on Monday. Nice. Lots of planning happened there, let me tell you.
Oh my gosh.
If you know me, I'm quite the planner, but I just went for it.
I love that. So you just dived right in.
Yeah.
Just let's do it. Love it. Yeah. What do you think was the thing that pushed you to open your own business other than being fired? Like what was like?
At that time, my kids were young. So 18 months and almost 3 years. So there's 2 boys, 17 months apart. I wanted to be able to be mom too. I had told my husband when we first married, I went, I will be involved in my children's lives. I'm not stay-at-home mom material. It's like, that's not the best version of me. And so I'm always going to be doing something else. And he thankfully was like, yeah, no problem. My mom was like that too. And I'm like, yay. But I really wanted control over my own destiny. I wanted to be able to do the work that I wanted to do because I really, at that time, enjoyed it. I wanted to make some money and contribute to my family and have that, ideal work-life balance. Ha ha ha. We all think we're going to get when we come in business, but it's the first thing we sacrifice. And I sacrificed it too, although not right away. I mean, that's kind of another story. But when the recession of '08 and '09 came in, I sacrificed my work-life balance, thinking that's what I needed to do to be successful. I would tell that version of me as an entrepreneur that that's not a good plan. It actually doesn't work. But I learned a lot through the process. And that was, the first business. This is my second business. Your Biz Rules is a second business. And I founded that. I think we're going on 8 years ago. So yeah, 8 years ago.
Great.
Yeah.
You bring up two very good points. First, work-life balance. It's very difficult for women, especially if they want to be moms. And trying to be able to balance everything is very, very tricky. I'm glad you had the support system to support that. I luckily have a great spouse who also supported my desire to, yes, be an involved mom, but I'm also not going to stay home and bake cookies and go to Girl Scouts. I'll go to Girl Scouts, but like, I can't do it. Yes. I'll eat the cookies. Anyways, the other thing you mentioned, so it's possible, ladies, that was my point. It's possible to do both. You just need support. Is you mentioned that the recession of '08 and '09, and now we're bubbling. I feel like we're in the recession, honestly, with inflation. I don't know how much gas is in Texas, but here it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel like we're already kind of in the recession and everything. What do you have any advice for people to like how to prepare for that so we're not burning the candle at both ends, that we're not going to get all, like overwhelmed and sacrifice our sanity?
Yeah, and it's a lot of what we're going to be sharing, as part of the Wealthy Woman Summit and talking about profits. But you said it at the beginning of the story where revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is queen. Well, a lot of businesses and business owners only ever focus on revenue, going, okay, one day I will make enough, we'll be big enough, we'll have done enough, we'll be good enough that the profit's going to just appear. And there's no profit fairy. And I always love to use the whole, I'm like, Carrie, you have worked long enough. You have worked hard enough. Here is your profit. And somehow that's what we think is going to happen, but it doesn't. And the answer to any uncertainty in the marketplace and the economy is cash. It really and truly is. And a lot of what we're going to share again at the summit, my clients going into COVID, and some of them were drastically hurt. If it hadn't been for the cash management leading up and the cash management going through, they would have not survived. And they come out, they're like smelling like roses. Not that it wasn't stressful, but it was doable. And that was the thing in the '08 and '09 that I didn't realize, because '08, '09, we had gotten into multiple six figures like within 9 months. I mean, it just whoosh took off. And '08, '09, it's like somebody cut my business in half, like threw half of it in the trash, put me in a box and taped it up with duct tape. And we're like, ha ha, see what you do now.
Try to get out.
Yeah, it was hard. It was stressful. I kind of label it my dark years because, the Beatles talk about a hard day's night, and where that title came through, that they were working so much that all they ever saw was night. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was trying to work my way out of a recession. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be that dire. It doesn't have to be that dark, but you've got to change how you look at cash and profitability in your business today. And that changes everything.
Why do you think people are fearful to look at their cash, particularly women? Why are we kind of scared of money?
There's a lot of reasons, right? We have societal, we have money stories, we have how our parents thought about money, how our religion thought about money, how whatever. We have experiences. So I haven't met anybody that doesn't have an experience. We all have them, either really good, really bad, somewhere in the middle. Those color our decision, number one. Number two is most entrepreneurs' financial literacy is revolved around balancing a checkbook.
So true.
Okay. This is not balancing checkbook area. The second thing that kills us is everyone's afraid to pay taxes.
Yes.
And so we support breaking even. But breaking even means no profits, nothing left over, right? And you have
Right.
one hiccup, one client that doesn't pay, one employee that causes maybe some financial hardship, one anything, and you're kind of sunk. I think at the beginning of COVID, McKinsey and Harvard Business Review were both talking about the average amount of money that small businesses, so not even the big guys, I'm talking about us, the people listening, they have on hand typically anywhere from 5 to 16 days worth of cash. So what does that look like? If you've ever worried about making payroll,
Yeah.
you're in that realm. Like if you worry about it, but you always make it, but then you don't pay yourself because you're really stressed out about it, that whole kind of thought process that goes on, you're kind of in that average. We like to get people into 3, 6. I have some clients to where their business dictates that we have 9 months worth of cash on hand. And that is security and stability.
Oh, yeah.
But guess what? That first year, especially when you're building it, you're gonna pay taxes. That's okay. We plan for it. We plan for it. Most of my clients are never surprised by their tax bill. They're surprised by how much money they have left over to then bonus themselves or bonus their team because of the structures and the strategies we put into place.
Wow, that's fascinating. So what's an entrepreneur or small business owner feeling before they're like, I need Leslie in my life? I can't, is it like they're feeling the pinch? Are they ready to expand to team? Like, what are they kind of going through?
They're going through a myriad of things. I kind of say this is the moment that they feel like they're between a rock and a hard spot, in that they've had some level of success. Like outwardly, people are like, you were such a rock star. And inwardly, they're like, yeah, thanks. I don't feel it. What do I have to show for it? They kind of feel that way. And really, in truth, what it is that the way that they've built their business is based on that, someday I'll be enough to get profit. And so they get to the point to where they realize they can't work harder. They can't work longer. They feel like the only way to get more income into the business is to grow, but that almost makes them want to cry. Like it's like this whole war that goes on, and like, man, I know I could be whatever that vision is, but there's no more of me to get this business there. So now what am I stuck with? I'm stuck with this. Is this even what I really wanted in the first place? And you go through a lot of inner work, inner discussions, and it's really hard to share that with people. But I've had $1 million, 7-figure business owners that'll go, man, I'm just going to shut this puppy down, go get a job. At least then I get benefits and some vacation time.
That's very common. That's happened to women in the Bra Network. I've seen their transition from entrepreneurship back to corporate because they just want a steady paycheck and their health insurance. That's a big reason.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the things we do, so like for one client, what we wound up doing is they came in and they were at 450 in revenue. Good revenue, but barely breaking even, having to use debt and revolving credit in order to kind of float cash flow. We changed some things up, obviously moved some things around. In 9 months, we took them to 2 million. And she took home, like her person took home as much as her business had billed the previous year, 450,000.
Wow.
So the steady paycheck, it's a fear. It's real. I was working with a client on this the other day because we don't have the tools that show us that stability growing in our business because of the profitability, because it feels like I don't even know why it's going to come or when it's going to come. You actually can build in a lot of that stability with the strategies and the tools that we use. And when you do, like I can typically show people, yeah, I was like, I can see your income for the next 12 months. I'm not worried. Are you worried? They're like, well, maybe about this. And then we talk through what we've done to mitigate it. And they're like, oh yeah, that's right. We took care of that. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. We took care of that. What do you want to do? Let's go have fun. Let's go build the business, And I think that's really where a lot of women entrepreneurs thrive, is in that creative creation, and being the visionary
in the
business. Mm-hmm. And we just got to get you back there, and then we got to get the money right, and then we just allow things to flow.
Yeah. Do you notice there's when you work with a client or when you're first starting to, that they feel shame or they're embarrassed to show you like their financials?
Yeah.
Like, is the little therapist Leslie have to come out then?
Yeah. Here's the thing we tell everyone is it's not our job to judge your journey. It's not our job to judge your numbers. What we do is we come alongside you, we guide you, and we partner with you. So you're not feeling like, I don't know what to do next. But we actually are here to help you go from wherever you are to wherever you want to be. And that's our job. So unfortunately, yeah, we all have those inner conversations. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you would think I asked people to like take off their clothes or something, on the first meeting.
Strip down.
Down. But just so funny, like when somebody's ready, like when they have had it, they're done, they're like, that is it. I heard you and I want to start making some money now for myself and for my team and be able to do what I do. They're like, oh, this wasn't that scary. And I'm like, not really. You've sat with this worry for so long that it's ballooned. And I've got to let the air out of the balloon a little at a time so you feel safe, but I'll show you how easy it can be. So, but for sure, I think everybody has that feeling, or they get so stuck in a path that says, well, this is what I've always done and it works for everybody else. I'm just going to be honest. It doesn't work for everybody else. It's just the people that it is working with, they're not talking about what they're doing because it's so different. It's so different from what everybody else thinks you should be doing. And so, yeah, so it's a process, it's a process of evolving and revealing. But oftentimes what I find is that people have everything they need at their fingertips, especially if they've had a couple years in business. And it's just about realigning things, reimagining how work gets done and how it comes into the business and how it flows out in a way that supports the business owner and creates profits. That when we get those two things, I mean, the business growth goes shoom, and it just happens at any stage of business, and it just happens.
Wow, that's incredible. I think something you just said I really, really appreciate is you said you partner with these small business as opposed to saying we tell you what to do. Because to me, that means like we're in it together. I'm going to show you. I'm just not going to fix it for you. I really like that. When you're working with a team or one entrepreneur or anything, how does that journey, what does that journey look like when you're working with a small business owner?
Yeah, so we get that comment a lot from our clients is like, oh, you act as a business partner, but you have no equity stake in my business. And they're like, sometimes you care more about my business than I do. I was like, I'm here to help you stay in the lane and keep on going, right? But that's truly what we believe. We're in it together. We often say we're 100% with you. We just can't be 100% for you. Like I'm not the business owner at the end of the day. So I can't tell your team what to do. And I can't make sure you make that phone call or, make sure you don't pull out another $5,000 out of your business, ahead of schedule. It's like, that's your part. But if you partner with us, we partner with you. And if we run into roadblocks, we're going to do everything to get down in the trenches with you to find a way through, around, or above, whatever it takes, right? So when we start with money for all clients, because if we can fix your profit leaks in the business, if we can get your cash flow right, then you're going to feel a lot more stable and secure. Then you're going to be willing to do some of the other things that really get you to scaling and growing the business you want to be able to do. You're going to feel like you can make investments. Like, for instance, I have a client today or this week, what we've been working on, what I shut down was 6 job descriptions because we're hiring 3 people this week, and we're like, okay, we need to make sure these are ready to go, when they start on day 1. She couldn't do that if she was worried about money,
Right.
And she couldn't, honest truth is we're paying premiums on salaries. So we'll do that. So we always work on the money and then we work on the growth and scalability. And then, like you said, partnering with them to see them through the whole process.
Love that. And I imagine it's different. The pace is different for different businesses and you adapt them accordingly. It's not like you got 12 weeks with me and that's it. There's adaptability in that.
It is. And for the clients where we're making big transformations and having big growth ideas, we obviously work with them at least 12 months, but sometimes it takes 2 years. But one of the things with what we do, because it's so systemic and foundational and easy to do and maintain, is when people stop working with us, they still get the same results, provided they take the same actions it still
Sure.
works. So it's not like I do have some magic and some, mumbo jumbo, but it's not like it's all here. Like we share it freely and we make sure that it really fits with the client. And to your point is some people like to go fast. Some people are more deliberate, and we just have that conversation. Like, where are you at? And we're here to help you keep moving along, but we're not here to pressure you and we're not here to judge you. We're just here to help.
Love that. What's a common error you think an entrepreneur who's starting out makes that you would advise them to avoid that you've seen in your experience?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to how you treat profit.
Mm,
Don't treat it as a reward, treat it as an intention. So we talk about, in product-based business, the concept is a minimum viable product. That's when
sure.
you can sell. In service-based, and I think even for a lot of product bases, what that MVP should be is minimum viable profitability. And the name of the game is how small can you be to start turning a profit? Not how large, how small, because then the business starts to feed itself. So I think we don't think long enough term on the financial side of the business, and that's why growth doesn't create cash, it devours it.
Mm.
But people try to use growth as a tool to create cash.
You're so right.
I know.
Oh my God. I'm literally like, oh my God, I did that last week.
Right? And so when we use growth as a tool to create cash and profitability, what we're doing is we're making smart investments. Growth is a stage, it's necessary. You go in and out of growth. You go growth to scalability. Like it's not growth and then scale forever.
Right.
It's kind of a circle. But you've got to know what you're doing. And if we can get cash forward in the business, then you've got the cash to sustain, right? So that the growth can give you a return on investment. It's just that growth investments typically take 9, 12, 18 months, and we think it's going to be 9 days.
No, that's why it's called an investment.
There you go.
It's not an ATM.
That is good. I'm going to use that.
You can write that down. You can put that in a blog. It's fine. Let me ask you this. I know you're going to be sharing 6 at the conference, but I'm wondering if you could just tease us with 2 places we're hiding money in our business. You could just pick 2.
I'm going to pick an obvious one, the one that
Okay.
everyone rebels against. That's price.
Oh, that's a big one.
That's a big one. And I've got story on story on story on how what you're telling yourself and the reason why you can't is actually just your fear showing up.
Yeah.
Just we prove it time and time again. Now, don't go doubling your price without a plan. Come on. And knowing what's going to happen. But anyway, so price is one of those. And I think the other one is really about, I'll call it the sensuous moment. Have you heard, is it Jeff Foxworthy that talks about sensuous? It's a Texas word. Sensuous, go into the kitchen, would you get me some water?
Sensuous.
Sensuous. Think about it. Well, Carrie, since you're working on the website, would you mind adding a blog with 8 categories? And hey, throw in a few articles while you're at it. And us as a business owner, especially women, we're like, okay. Or we get angry or, something like that. So the sensuous is kind of is part of a scope creep that especially service businesses or experiential businesses, it's really easy for that to erode your profits. So you do have to think about these things as you're managing your business. And those probably are the big 2 giveys, but the other 4 are just as juicy.
Price and scale. So true. I know when I first started, the price to be a member was $79 a year.
That's a steal.
Yeah. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Let me do the math here. So clearly that had to change. It was not sustainable.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes. And I had the mindset that nobody's going to want to be a part of this community for more than that. And I was wrong. And also the law of attraction, right? If what you want is out there, you need to attract it. And I was deflecting it by saying only $79. I only want $79 from you.
Yeah.
Live and learn. That was my first year. And that was 2012. So I've learned
and a hard year, right?
Very hard.
Year.
Very, very hard. Yeah. it's almost like the daily grind. I couldn't get out of it. I was just like hours upon hours. And like you, I had two small children and I was just like working from home, but I wanted to be present, but I was like grind, 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 social media. Oh, blog. I couldn't, it was just a rat race. What's something, I mean, you must, starting working with your clients, you must see them in the daily grind all the time. They must be exhausted. What's the fastest way they can get out of it? Anyone listening right now, I'm sure you're grinding.
Yeah, you've got to be willing to get out of it.
Stop getting comfortable.
Like, let me just put it, I've had it take some people, like I can get you out of the day to day, and it's all about how quickly you are willing to go through the process, because it's uncomfortable. And here's the reason why I think we get trapped in the day to day, because coming into business, our value is wrapped up in what we do. I do a good job. I was able to help Carrie and she was happy and I made her life better. This is where I derive value. As you become an entrepreneur, you should be slowly detaching yourself from actually doing the work. So you have to go through this transition to where your job is no longer about doing the work, but ensuring that the work gets done.
Mm-hmm.
That is a huge value shift. So I had a client where when we first started working, she wanted to go on a month-long honeymoon to Italy with her husband. She promised, because she works like a mad fiend. And he was like, no email, no phone call, no text. And she said, okay, and she's like, okay, I'll do that. And then she was like, I don't have any idea how that's gonna happen. So we had 9 months. We got her to 9 months. She went to Italy, no email, no phone, no text. She comes back, she goes, Leslie, I had that palpitation like at Sunday night when I was sitting down to look at my emails. I was like, I'll bite. How many emails? She says 135. I was like, dang, that's good for a month. And she goes, what's even better is not a single one of them needed me. Within 2 weeks, she said, maybe I need to go get a job. I don't know what my purpose and value in the business is anymore.
Wow.
Right? So it's real. And I said, is that really what you want to do? Or do we just need to redefine what your value and purpose and role is in the business? Because we were just focused on getting you out of Italy
going to Italy. Mm-hmm.
Going to Italy. So that is real. That's a real journey that you have to go to, because your identity has to get redefined. And it has to not be about the work.
Dang, you're right. You hear that? You hear that, everybody? The daily grind is just an excuse. But you're right. We do. And I think we're raised that way, right? And our school systems are set up that way. You do the work at the end, your work, you get the A. You do this, you get to go to the next grade level and everything. We're very indoctrinated with this mentality of go, go, go. And you better go fast, because that person's going to take your job, especially if you're a woman. So you better be
harder,
first.
longer, faster, stronger, right? But it's not really the cornerstone of success as an entrepreneur. It's focus, determination, steadfastness, resiliency. Those are cornerstones, but none of it's really about having to work yourself to death. Yeah. I think, and we have the hustle and grind mantra that's out there. Well, you tell any woman to hustle and grind, she's going to take it to martyr level. She's going to out hustle and out grind everybody, because we also have this really need to win and be the first, like you were saying, the fastest and the first and And sometimes that's just not so helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant thing to switch over to getting carried away about I also agree, the hustle culture. I actually see it swinging now. We're all kind of being like, wait a minute, we got to stop saying this. We have to stop pressuring ourselves to hustle. I've also thought, when I first, started entrepreneurship, it was hustle, hustle, hustle. To me, when I hear hustle, I think of I'm going to steal money from you. I'm going to hustle you.
Oh,
I interpret it a different way as opposed to doing the hustle.
Yeah.
Okay. We're dating ourselves. So on that note, that's a great note to end on. I want to get carried away with you. Really? First off, coming out of a pandemic, so glad you were able to keep your business moving, shaking, doing all the things, helping your clients. I know for me, I thought nobody's going to want community in a pandemic, and I was so wrong. People were dying for community. But what did you keep yourself busy with? Were you one of those people that baked? Did you start sewing? Were you really into Netflix? Like what was kind of your pandemic pleasure?
Oh, we sat outside and enjoyed our backyard. And for my birthday, I got a double egg swing chair.
Oh,
I, like, as a little girl, I would be on the swing set forever. And I would always try to get my swing to like wrap around the pole. Never would, but
right.
so I told my husband, I was like, I need a swing. I miss swinging. So I got a double egg chair so he and I can sit out and swing together. Such a like a old married couple thing, but it really does de-stress me. So we did a lot more of that. For us, our life didn't shift that much because I'm not a huge TV person. I'm not,
Mhm.
and we played games with our family, but I think we got to stop and we got
Yeah.
to, because the kid activities and between sports and band and scouts
Carpool and holiday. Yeah.
and now it's kind of picked back up and I'm like, really? Do
Yeah.
we can we finish a few of these things so they just get off our plate? But so
Yeah, I love that. I love swinging. I know a lot of people who actually invested in their backyards during the
yeah.
pandemic. They were getting hammocks and all of a sudden they had, outdoor chess sets that are huge, so I love that. That's great. That's great. And now the other side of that coin is
Yeah.
what's something that people get carried away about that you can't stand? You can't wrap your head around it. You're like, no, I know I told you earlier it was kombucha for me, but you mentioned you took a cruise. And a cruise sounds terrifying to me.
I am actually not a cruise person, but it was the way that my mom and I could go see Alaska. So I am
Yeah.
not cruisy. I don't get carried away with cruises. I don't get carried away with reality TV unless it's like dance and song. What else do I not get carried away with? I don't watch, like, have you ever seen the posts that are like, get an X or a point for all these TV series you've ever seen? And I'm like, what's that one? And people, so I'm always like out of the loop when everybody's like talking about Yellowstone or,
Right. It's
I
such a
don't
good
know.
show.
So I hear, I just have not sat down to watch it. And so I don't get carried away with those things.
Those big TV series that last forever and ever and ever. Yeah, I hear you. I don't think I've ever had anyone say that. So that's a new answer. I like that.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, that's a new one. And nobody said a swing. So that's
There
two.
you go.
That's two first for here on Get Carried Away. I love that. Well, Leslie, thank you so much for joining me. You have provided us with such a wealth of knowledge. Now I want to put in the show notes, where can the people find you? What's your handle? Share your website, all the things.
Surely. So obviously my name's Leslie Hassler. My business is Your Biz Rules. So our website's yourbizrules.com. And I can be found on nearly every channel. We do have a Facebook group that's the Profitable Growth Strategies for Women Entrepreneurs. So that's a place where we play and do a lot of video and master classes and things like that. So just search us out on Facebook, either my name or Your Biz Rules, and you will find me. I am not the photographer in New York, though.
There's a realtor in Ohio with Carrie Murray. I'm not her either.
I know she has lesliehassler.com, and every once in a while somebody will tag her in social promo, and she's like, this is not the right Leslie Hassler. And I was like,
Right.
okay, girlfriend.
So the realtor in Ohio also has carriemurray.com.
Oh,
So I was like, dang it. So now I'm the carriemurray.com. I couldn't get that domain and she wasn't giving it up.
I know, it's so much stronger with the though. I like
Right?
it. Yep.
The one and only.
Yeah, you need a walk-up song for that.
I do. Maybe it's the hustle. Do, 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 do. Take that, Carrie Murray in Ohio. Well, again, thank you so much. And like I said, you guys can actually meet and speak with Leslie in person at the Wealthy Women Summit on August 25th and 26th. She's going to be spilling all the tea of where we're hiding all of our profitability. And I rhymed. That's it. Thank you, Leslie, for joining me.
Thanks.
Ah.